As promised, today's video is all about how to set and achieve goals. Let's get started straight away. Before I dive into how to set goals and achieve them, I must draw your attention to two important things that you must know. The first of which is you must know what is it that you want. Sounds like a no-brainer, right? But you'll be surprised. Many of us just wander through life drifting, not knowing what we want, or sometimes moving from one goal to another without actually taking any concrete actions towards the completion of any one of those goals. So this is really important to know what is it that you want and to hold on to it over a period of time, sustaining it through actions and then achieving it. Okay, so the first thing that you need to know is what is it that you want. The second thing that you must know is that the life force within you, primarily the energy created by your brain and your heart, is a very powerful tool which works like a magnet, drawing events, people, and things into your life. So you need to learn how to tune into a certain frequency by managing your heartbeat, which in turn then also influences the frequency of your brain so that this magnetic power is optimally used. Now, this is very interesting, and I will go deeper on this topic, which is to tune your mind and your heart in a way that you become a powerful magnetic force that attract things, events, and people that you desire into your life. But just bear this in mind. Okay, you must be aware of these two things. You must know what is it that you want, and second is by virtue of the life force within you that is centered around your brain's metabolic activity and your heart, you are a powerful magnetic force, and therefore you're hardly a victim or at the mercy of the actions of others. Now that the stage is set and you're ready to learn, let's look at how to set and achieve goals. There are three types of goals based on the time frame. The first is short term, the second is mid-term, and the third is long term. Well, there is no clear demarcation to say that short term is within this time frame, mid-term is within this time frame, or long term is within this time frame. It's up to you really. But a guideline that I use for myself, I'm sharing. You can think and formulate your own guideline. For me, what I regard as short-term goals are those from as short as the next 5 minutes to a whole year. So any short time. What do I mean by the next 5 minutes? Sometimes when I'm driving a car and I'm looking for a parking place, then I have a very short-term goal, an immediate goal actually, which is to find an empty parking place. In a full parking place, I will set a goal of hoping that somebody would reverse out at the right moment so that I can get a parking. That's a very short-term goal or an immediate goal. But anything from that short to a year can be considered a short-term goal. Mid-term can be anything from 1 to 3 years, and long-term anything between 3 to 5 years or 10 years, or even a lifetime or terminal goal can be considered a long-term goal. So this is just a guideline. It doesn't really have a huge impact, right? Just as a general guideline on the types of goals that you can set based on the time frame that you assign. Apart from time, there is another parameter along which we can divide goals into 3 types. Okay, so these types of goals are first outcome goals. When we talk about outcome goals, the goals can be further divided into 8 areas according to the 8 pillars that we covered in a recent video. I will include the link to the video about 8 pillars of life in the description section below, and you can go and review it. The second type of goal is process goals. Process goals refer to the goals that you set in order to guide you to do some things, the execution part, right? The time, the hard work that you need to put in. All of this falls into the process goals category. And the third category of goals is character goals. What is it that you need to acquire in terms of your character quality in order to build yourself up to become that person who can then execute the process goals, which will then bring about the outcome goals. I would like to highlight that in most cases, we just focus on outcome goals and we stop right there without working backwards or reaching further into ourselves by being responsible for executing the actions, drawing up a plan to achieve these goals by setting process goals and setting character goals. So now you realize that setting goals is important, but it's not only important, it is not that easy. It is really a lot of work and inner re-engineering, if you will. Now, the process of setting and achieving goals. We first have to formulate the goal, which means that we know what is it that we want. And apart from knowing what is it that we want, we have to know exactly what components go into setting up a goal, the language we need to use when writing the goal, etc. The second step is writing, actually taking a pen and putting it to paper and writing it down. The third is to plan. As you know, planning is a blueprint that guides the execution of actions needed to achieve a goal. And then the fifth step is achieving it, of course, but it is not quite as simple in real life, I am sure, as most of you are aware. It can be iterative in the sense that it goes back and forth between one step to another. And sometimes we don't achieve our goal as we had planned to. In that timeline, there might be delays, there might be necessity to revise, reassess, redirect, etc. But remember, we become better for trying. The first step when setting a goal is formulating a goal. When you formulate a goal, make sure it is a SMART goal. SMART is an acronym for the 5 characteristics of a goal. A goal must be specific. For example, if you want to own a car, you can't say, I want to own a big car. Instead, try naming the make of the car, the color. Next, the goal must be measurable, which means that you must know when you have achieved the goal. Third, the goal must be achievable. For example, it doesn't make sense for someone like me and my age to set a goal to become an astronaut and walk on the moon, for example. The fourth, the goal must be realistic. This, again, is something not out of the world, like if you had a 3-year-old child and your goal is that this child must be able to drive a car in within the next year. Okay, that is not realistic. It's not even something legal, right? And the fifth characteristic, it must be described by a time frame, meaning you give it a good time frame within which you need to achieve the goal. After carefully formulating your goal to make sure that it is a smart goal, and also using the correct language in formulating the goal, it is very, very important to write it down. When you put pen to paper and write it down, you're actually involving multiple organs and nerves and sensory tissues and cells, and this actually triggers the use of your life force energy in magnetizing the components of the goal into your life. There are other reasons why writing down a goal is important. For example, it creates commitment. It is on paper, which means that you can't forget it. You know, we being humans, when we just hold a thought in our head, that thought changes, we forget it. Putting it down on paper means it is there, it is tangible, we can take a look at it, we can remind ourselves. Yeah, there are many more reasons why it is a very powerful exercise to write down your goals on paper. Ideally, get a book, write down all your goals, review it each year, keep it over a long period of time. For example, I have a book where I have been setting goals for the past 20 years, and it is amazing when you revisit these goals. You can actually look back and see how far you have come in life. The next step in setting a goal is planning. At this step, make sure that you notice if there are any goals that are tugging in opposite direction with another, because we do not want our goals to cancel each other out. The next step is executing the plan that we have drawn up to achieve our goal. The most important aspect of this is creating systems and routines. Daily, weekly routines are powerful tools when carrying out actions in order to achieve our goals. I hope you're now ready to achieve your goal by following all the steps and information that was presented in this video. If there is anything that you would like to know about, just ask in the comment section and I will cover that in a future video to come. And I would like to end this video by looping back to the very first point I made when I started this video, which is to have something first. You must know that you want it. This is the most important step. See you again in another video.